Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nick's Quick Bits. Today's quick bit is based around power chords. I play in a rock band with two guitars, and I think the worst thing that you can do is kind of play exactly the same thing that the other guy's playing. And I think having a bigger vocabulary of stuff like power chords is really useful. It makes them sound a bit fatter or hit a higher register. So for example, if one guitarist is maybe doing a kind of an E, an A and a B, I might look at that and think, okay, how can I mix that up? I might kind of go up here and kind of... So yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, so let's get started. First things first, this guitar's tuned in an E flat standard, so everything's going to sound a bit different if you were to do exactly the same as me. Secondly, what is a power chord? A power chord is a root played with a fifth, and that's the fifth note in the major scale. And that's why we see power chords written as A5, D5, E5. There's no major or minor tonality. That fifth is just powerful, and it just reinforces the root note. So hence power chords. So let's get started. Everyone should know their two string shapes, kind of pretty straightforward. However, let's kind of include three strings. Most people are familiar with the E and the A string shapes. So we have kind of 5, 7, 7, and we have our root, our fifth, with our octave on top. And that formula stays the same for all of the strings until we run out. Root, fifth, octave. We do the same on the A string. We can do the same on the D string. So this is a G. Then we would have our fifth, which is D, and we'd have our octave here. So a little bit of a different shape for the D string shape power chord. And finally we have our G string power chord. 5, 8, 8. That's a C5, C, G, and C. That's it for our 3-string power chords. How about 4-string power chords? So with 4-string power chords, we take the fifth and we add it underneath. So for example, if we're on the A string and we're playing a D5 power chord, we have the notes D, A, and D. We can add the A on the E string. So we're playing 5, 5, 7, and 7 for a pretty chunky sounding power chord. Let's do the same with the D string. So we have a G, a D, and another G. We can add the fifth, D, on the A string. So we're playing those middle 4 strings, D, G, D, G. And we can do the same on from the D string. So we can have, this is our fifth on the bottom, which is a G. We have our root C on the G string, and then we have G and C again. Again, pretty chunky sounding chord. So there are 4-string power chords. Always good to know, and again, adds a bit of vocabulary, so you can play those higher power chords. Different register, might sound a little bit different. So what about our open strings? We can utilize those to make some pretty chunky sounding power chords. We can take this shape and put it all the way down at the bottom to play a D5 chord, and add the A on the top there. A in the bass, D, our root, A again, D, and A. Sounds pretty big. We can do the G5. I mute the A string with my second finger. G, D, G, D, G. Another good sounding power chord. We can do the A shape. We can also include the low E, so that fifth is on the bottom, so we have E, A, E, A, E, A. And we can do an E5 power chord. Bit more of a stretch, E, B, E, B, E, and you can even get that high E ringing out 0, 2, 2, 4, 5, 0. Pretty big sounding power chord, maybe a bit unnecessary. What about if we go down to drop D? Let's talk about some of those shapes. Okay, so with going down to drop D, taking our low E string and taking it down a whole tone, our power chords now look like this, nice and flat over 1 fret. Really cool kind of sounding, grunty, a little bit more low end by grabbing, tuning that low E string down. The shapes stay largely the same, other than the E and the A string. Rather than doing this shape now, we do this shape now. Everything else stays the same. We can take this power chord shape here with kind of that 5, 5, 7, 8, and we can now add our low E string, as we've now got that root note in the right place. We can even go a step further and add that on top. Maybe that's a bit excessive. We've got this shape, which wasn't available to us previously, kind of that inverted power chord again with the 5th on the bottom. So we're playing a D5 here, but we're putting the A on the bottom, on the low E string. Got this G shape here that I like to use. Grabbing that G, muting the A string again. But yeah, not much changes, just put that first finger flat, which always sounds particularly beefy. Alright guys, that's it from me. I hope you've picked something up. It's always good to have a bigger chord vocabulary for stuff like power chords. Yeah, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.